Talk About It podcast. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button for me. Like, comment, subscribe, get the numbers up, get the engagement up, and help the algorithms. Greatly appreciate it. Now, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers all over the earth, all over the universe, wherever you may be at. If you are a mother, happy Mother's Day to you. Whew, I'm not even going to lie. This one's probably going to be a little tough to get through. And some might say, well, why? You don't have to do this one. But I do. See, the thing is, understanding that digital content, as long as the platforms are available, are going to be around pretty much forever unless they just shut the internet down. It's important for me to document certain things and certain people, certain characteristics, certain things you can relate to, certain stories you may or may not know. That's important to me. Almost like a time capsule. I'm making it now. So hopefully my great-great-grandchildren and the generations to come can look back and say, that's pretty interesting. Or I can kind of relate to that. So it's all for a purpose. So today, yes, I'm honoring the mothers. Dedicated to my mother, Joyce Ann Banks Crawley. And to all the other mothers. Shout out to my mother, to my Aunt Bernice, and to my sister Tasha Crawley Boone. Besides my mother, those two women, above and beyond any other women, have been there for me even when they probably shouldn't have or didn't want to. Or I was just messing up so bad, it's like, come on, bruh. Get it together. Thankfully, they never gave up on me. So I have to salute you two also. I love y'all. All right, so today I want to talk about mothers in general, and then I want to talk a little bit about my mother. Because as a 41, almost 42-year-old man, I know the impact that my mother and the type of woman she was had on me and how I view the world and how I view women. Give me 1 second. We still rocking. So I just want to share a little bit of that, kind of weave it into, some of the notes I have here and give you an overall picture of whatever you decide for it to be. I'm not going to paint the picture and interpret it for you. When Picasso painted his pictures, he let the viewer determine whether it was worth what they're charging for it now. And clearly they are. So I want this to be kind of like a Basquiat. I'm going to paint the pictures and you pull from it what you want or what you need. And like my mother used to say, eat the fish, throw away the bones. So eat the parts you need, the parts you don't, just discard them. No harm, no foul. Okay, so what is a mother? Some of the basic definitions I got for it. The first one was, a mother is a caregiver and unconditional love giver. Housekeeper, cooker, baker, taxi driver, psychologist, doctor, discipliner. They are the ones who bear the burden of everything good and bad as the days grow on. They are the ones who might get left behind. As they do so much, they don't get as much appreciation. I'm not a woman, clearly. But I observe. And I must say, yes, a lot of times the work that you all do can go unnoticed or taken for granted. But even in just like the last few years, I've become more aware of the jobs that you all really have to do. As far as, okay, I look at me, single man. Yes, I have kids. I actually just left my oldest two kids and my grandson. But one of them still lives with her mother. So even though I have a relationship with them, we good, we talk, I see them and you interact, they live with her. So as well as my youngest two live with their mother and the stepfather, because she's remarried. But they live with the mother. So me working hard, having all of my trials and whatever going on, boom, 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 life beat me up, boom, 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 boom. But I can do that freely. for so long I took for granted that you all deal with the same thing, plus you got the kids. So regardless of what I'm going through, and that's not saying that I should diminish what I'm going through, but sometimes I just have to keep that in mind if I'm dealing with a woman with kids as a friend or in an intimate relationship. We have to keep in mind that, okay, she's dealing with work, stress from that, bills, this and that, plus she got them kids. So sometimes you got to pull back and realize, instead of me complaining about what I got going on, let me see how I can maybe lift some of the weight off of her. And that way neither one of us are as stressed. Because if I'm only focusing on how stressed I am, and she's clearly frustrated doing what she has to do, plus with the kids, and I start complaining, then she started looking at me like I'm just another one of the kids. Like, nigga, now I can understand little Timmy and little Quandron in here complaining, but you's a whole grown man. Do I need to change your pamper? Now I hope she won't say it to you like that, but I'm just saying that might be what they thinking. Anyway, let me move on. Mothers are the first indications of the sovereignty of God in our lives. Let me read that again. And I'm gonna paint the picture. Mothers are the first indications of the sovereignty of God in our lives. Mothers teach us to have confidence and believe in ourselves. Mothers knew from experience how important for people to believe in themselves in order for children to be whole, strong, and grow with a healthy estimation of self. I agree with that, and I'm going to get into that. I'm going to read a little bit more. A mother's love is extremely important for the healthy emotional outcome of her children. Let me read that again. A mother's love is extremely important for the healthy emotional outcome of her children, says Ridgefield therapist Janet Esposito. Let me read that correctly. In most cases, it's the mom who is the primary caregiver, and how she loves her children greatly affects their lives. Okay, now let me jump over. Y'all hold those thoughts. I'm going to jump over to my mother's side. Joyce Ann Banks originally was born August 21st, 1951. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. She graduated from Greensboro Memorial School of Practical Nursing as an LPN. So all of my life, my mother was in the nursing. My grandmother, my aunt, my mother, my aunt's daughters end up getting into nursing. My sisters are RN. Like, it's nursing all on that side of the family. I think my Aunt Virginia. It's several ones I can name on the bank side that was in the nursing. Growing up, she started off on Reed Street. And then a little bit later, they moved to Deal Street. So she grew up Reed Street, Deal Street. Where am I going to go next with this? Okay. I call my Aunt Bernice because she's like I would say she's like the family historian. Like when the times I might date someone around the town or whatever, she's the one I call to be like, Aunt Bern, am I related to this person? And she'll say, who is it? And a lot of times, once I tell her the last name or whatever, she can run down the whole list of the family tree and this and that, and finally come to the place, no, you ain't get no kin to that child. And she'd be like, no, that's your cousin. And I'd be like, wow. But she's the one that I can go to and she'll give you the whole breakdown. And she knows like all about the family. We actually need to document that. The different one, this person kin to this one and this one is boom, boom, boom. That's such and such. She know all of that stuff. So anyway, I called, I was like, Aunt Bern, how was my mother as a child and like a teenager? Because you got to realize, growing up, I'm a preacher's kid. My father was a preacher. Is a preacher. My mother, first lady missionary. But they weren't always that, So sometimes people will start looking at you from one point, not realizing it's a beginning to that. What's the root? What was the roots from that? So like I say, started out Reed Street, moved to Deal Street. So I said, Aunt Bern, how was my mama growing up? Because I ain't want just that one could be clouded picture of who I see my mother as. She said, Lil Ed, because that's what they call me. Some of them call me Lil Ed, because my daddy was Big Ed, even though we're probably about the same height now. She said, well, George was a hero. Then she stopped. She said, no, I shouldn't say that. I said, Aunt Bern, I want the truth. I didn't ask you to, for you to not tell me the truth. She said, well, Joyce was the sweetest woman in the world until you mess with her. She said Joyce was a hell raiser. You know, and some of the stories she told me I couldn't get into, but she made it clear that my mother had a big heart, but she was a woman of few words. And if she said something to you, it's best you listen because she won't gonna say it again. I'm trying to, because I can't tell this story. Anyway, there was a small situation where my mother had told somebody something. The person didn't do it, and the person ended up getting dragged the next time my mama saw him because she said, but I told them not to do that. Like, it wasn't like we gonna have words again. But I told them, my brother said, I tell Joyce, you should, but Burn, I told them not to do that. Like, why should I say it again? I told you, next time, it's we got the rumble, baby. Okay. She even said that my mother had such a big heart that, like, when her friends would come over, my mother wouldn't even just loan out her clothes. She would even loan out my aunt's clothes. Like, my aunt say she go looking for a skirt or this and that. And she like, where's my skirt? Joyce, did you? Yeah, Bern, I let them use it. Well, you can't just be going letting people borrow the clothes, my clothes, and she still did it. You know. My mother had a sharp sense of humor. Almost like a dry, she laughed, but just certain times I remember she was funny, but like in a quick-witted way. Like, you won't gonna really one-up her if you like trying to crack on her. Like my uncle, her and my uncle, one of my father's brothers that lives in Maryland because he's still alive. Every time we would see each other, they would always jokingly go back and forth. And it never got like disrespectful. They were in the church and stuff, so it wasn't any cussing. Which shows talent and skill that you can, because some people feel like you gotta cuss. And I cuss, and you heard most in my videos, I cuss some. But you don't have to be funny if you're funny. If you're really funny, you could make anything funny. But they would go back and forth, and just the sharpness of he'll say something, she could just fire right back. Never had to get loud or whatever, just shoot you right back. Okay. Let me go back. Let me see. Like I said, I'm trying to work through this because it's actually not easy doing this right now. So I'm trying to hold myself together while I'm doing it. Because I ain't trying to have y'all see me crying on camera and stuff. But if I do, just whatever. Okay. What are some of the characteristics of a good mother? Okay, always offering your love. Giving lots of hugs. I've heard some women, and this isn't an indictment on women. As you see, I'm here to compliment you and hopefully admonish you to just be more aware. That's it. Because I can't tell you how to do your job, but to just be more aware while you're doing certain things. Because like I said, as a 41-year-old man, I still remember certain things my mother said to me. That if she had said certain other things, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be sitting somewhere else. So the words that she said was very important. Says give lots of hugs. I've heard some say, I ain't hugging my son. I want to make him tough. And to a degree, I understand that. But when you don't allow young men to learn how to express their emotions in a way that's healthy and beneficial to them, and you force them to hold it in, they grow up and snap. They grow up angry because they don't have an outlet. So whatever outlet they can find, they're going to use it, whether it's through violence, whether it's through sports, whether it's through drugs, whether it's through music, whether it's through sex or whatever. They're going to find an outlet, and a lot of times it's not going to be a healthy one. It's just going to be one to release that emotion. because you never was allowed to do it. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be aware to find that healthy balance. Trying to see things from your kid's point of view. Asking their opinion whenever it's possible or appropriate. I'm 41. I grew up in the because I said so era. Your parent tell you to do something, you never said why or or it was yes ma'am, no ma'am. And if you're gonna be mad about it, you mumble to yourself once you get out of sight. Because it was because I said so. Go sit down. Why? Ain't no why. Because I said so. Or we got to agree to go to the store. Of course, as a child, I'm watching cartoons. I want to know why. Because I said so. It wasn't no explaining to the kid. And to a degree, certain things I'm still not going to explain to a child. Like if I tell you sit down, I'm not going to explain to you why I need you to sit down. Simple as that. Y'all be doing too much talking. Yeah. After respecting their opinion. Sometimes you have to remember, at every age that my child is at, I try to remember who was I at that age. Because sometimes we forget and we act like we've always had this mature or larger view of life that we have now at 9 years old. You didn't. So be honest and go back in yourself and say, what was I at this age? Did I have these type of questions? Or if I had those type of questions, how would I have felt knowing I could go to my mama and ask her, and she's actually going to have a conversation with me. She ain't going to tell me, you don't need to know that. Realize once they ask the question, they're going to get the answer, whether you give it to them or not. Because once they become curious about it, they're not going to stop until they get the answer. So whether it's about sex, drugs, or whatever, you're going to have the conversation, because if you don't, the streets are going to tell them. And if they got these little devices in their hand, they've already had to have the capability of seeing a version of it. So you need to get in there and tell them, or at least have somebody or whatever in the village, they can do that. And I'm saying that even from my own experience, great as I think my parents were, they didn't teach me about sex, but I found out. And I had to take the long route, which a lot of us had to, because we weren't allowed to have those types of conversations, which is unfortunate. If you think about it. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care if it's, I don't want to think about my kid having sex. Well, your kid is thinking about having sex. Or they're thinking about smoking weed. You blow them off. The next person that they get to might be the one that said, okay, I'm going to let you bust it down. Then they mess around, baby on the way, and you mad at them. Which, yeah, they have responsibility, but they came to you. Sometimes don't be so caught up in what you're doing that you automatically blow it off and then it registers later. It's like, nah, hear what they're saying. Yeah, I know they could call your name, ma, but certain things should make your ears stick up like, whoa. And even if you can't talk about it right then, assure them like just give me a little bit to think about this, and we definitely gonna talk about it, because you might not be prepared on the spot, but prepare. Anyway, funny story. My mama, my aunt. I was talking to my aunt. She told me, going back to my mother. To my understanding, my pops. If any older people hear this, to my understanding, my pops, first saw her at this spot called Dewdrop Inn, around Emporia Way, back in the day. I think he said he saw her through the window eating a cheeseburger, and from that moment he knew that's who he wanted. That was gonna be his wife. Fast forward, my parents get married and they living in Robert's Motel. Some of y'all around my age, a little bit younger, y'all will know Robert's Motel up 301. She says she cooked their first meal for him, and my daddy didn't know, because at the time my mama couldn't cook. So she said she cooked it. I said cooked it. I don't talk like that. She cooked a roast and put some potatoes or whatever. She said, George, put on your apron and throw some flour on your face and make Ed think you cooked. That's hilarious to me. She said, I left right before, your daddy got there so he would think George cooked. That's just funny to me. All right, let's get back. Patience. And then more patience on top of that. Like I said, I'm not here to critique the job that y'all do. I'd be a fool to do that. But I observe, and as a friend and as a man, certain things I think I have the authorization to say I'm not gonna back down off of that, because there has to be some type of balance, and we have to get beyond the point where we can't speak to each other, and even if correcting each other, not be offended. Like if some of my best reprimands come from women. When they be like, hey, why you say that? Or why you post that? Or what are you doing? Or you acting like a clown. That stuff, you need to get your shit together. That came from women. And someone say, well, why they talk to you like that? No, at the time, they were supposed to tell me that. It was the homies that never said that. They told me that though. So we got to get past the point where if a man is saying something about a woman, it's taken as he's bashing. Like, no, it's balancing this. We're supposed to be able to balance each other out. If steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron. You're supposed to be able to help me further along and do better, and likewise. So, I don't know when we became so sensitive. But if you're one of those, then my whole channel ain't for you. Period. Hold up 1 second. Let me plug up my charger. All right. Had to get a little, something. All right, so like I said, let's talk to each other. Let's talk with each other. Stop talking at each other. Like I said, more patience on top of that. Setting boundaries, lest you end up with little monsters who walk all over you. I need some of y'all to remember that you're the adult. And that in your house, where you make the rules, those are the rules. And you only have to keep repeating yourself if you choose to. Because that's your house. Yeah, that's your house. Like, I just don't get, even when I was in the house with mine, I just don't get when the kids run the house. I don't get it. Or if I'm visiting and I got to tell your kid, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, stop. You about to break that. And I'm like, you don't see this? I'm going to get off of that. Giving unconditional love. Having one-on-one time with each kid. If you have one child, make sure you have solo time with that child too. Learning that discipline is a good thing. Gentle, non-violent discipline. When you say no, mean it. That way you're not raising brats. Okay, let me go back to my mom. Okay, my parents were the type that they really didn't repeat themselves. They weren't the type that said, I'm not going to tell you one more time, more than once. Once they said, this the last time I'm telling you, that was the last time they told us. And after that came bloom, 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 bloom. And I'm not saying that beating the kids should be the next thing to do, but do something. And I'm going to speak about my father. His thing was this. He said, once I told you I'm going to whip you, I have to do it because if I don't, I'm a liar. Or whatever the punishment was, he said, because if I don't do that, I'm a liar. So when when you say, if you do that again, I'm going to take that tablet, take it and keep it until you want to give it back. You pay for it. If you want to not give it back till never, don't. And what, they going to beat you up? Or they going to cry a little bit? And you don't want them to cry. They ain't going to do nothing but get over it. See, I'm trying to do this in a way where, because here's the thing. Because I saw boundaries, I know where there are lack of boundaries. Yeah, as my siblings and I got older, yeah, we did some things, quite a few things that we weren't supposed to do. Quite a few things. But at the same time, in that house, there were boundaries. You weren't going to come to our house and see us acting all up. Because we knew who we had to deal with if we did that. Not to say we never acted up, because we got plenty of whippings. I tell anybody, I probably got more double whippings than both my brother and my sister. My mama would come in there and pre-whoop me, tear me up with the switch, and my daddy come seal it with the belt. And talking to you the whole time. And with my mama, you can cry a little bit, but now imagine this. And don't nobody, y'all know the generation we from, whatever. Mama come in there and tear me up, crying. Then my daddy come in there, you can't cry. You gotta just take it. So I done went from just got a whooping crying to now I got to hold it in while you light me up. Whoo. But they kept their word. And I couldn't do nothing but respect that. And that's why I'm the way I am about certain stuff. Once I say certain things, because I mean what I say, what I'm gonna keep saying it for? What I'm gonna go back and forth and blah blah. I said what I meant. Now, if you choose not to respect that, then whatever comes after that is what comes. But I said what I meant. And I need more of y'all to be that way. I'm saying the things I'm saying, right, because I love y'all and because some of y'all, I don't think you know the opportunity and the power you have in the position as a mother. I remember my mother standing in my doorway because I was rebellious. I was hard-headed. I could be rude sometimes, especially knowing I could push her buttons a little bit or that she was tender towards her boys. She would stand in my doorway, even as me being a butthole sometimes, tears in her eyes, and she would still say, Ed, you can do anything you put your mind to. Now, as a young teenager, man, nigga, I don't care nothing about that. You smoking weed? Yup. Yup, I smoke. But she still would tell me, but she would tell me too, your attitude is going to determine how far you go. She would take the time to talk to me, to try to find some reasoning in this all over the place brain I had. Take the time to do that. Those conversations will remain. Hey, look, you gotta realize, man. Okay, I'm gonna go that way. I'm gonna go this way with it. Be their parent, not their friend, for the first 18 years or so. Then you'll be their best friend for the rest of your lives when they hit about 20 and suddenly get what you did for them. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, some might debate it, whatever. I was friendly with my children when they were younger, but we weren't friends because I never want them to forget that I was daddy, and that a certain respect should come with that. Period. Now, because I've been married and divorced twice, thankfully on both sides they had family. So even in times where I wasn't physically there, it was good people still in place for both sets of my kids. But at the same time, they knew I was daddy. I won't just Ed or that guy that's supposed to be my daddy. They knew that's dad. That's my dad. Because that matters in how I carried myself and still carry myself. Now, yeah, especially with my oldest, we can laugh and joke about some things we probably wouldn't have when they were younger. And that is cool because they grown. They grown women now. I'm a grandfather. But I think we both appreciate the fact that it happened that way. At least I do. Like I say, be their parent. If they're mad with you, they'll be okay. It was plenty of times I was mad with my mama. Plenty of stuff I wanted to do and was curious about and couldn't get it the way I wanted to. Shoot, I even wanted better clothes. See, here's the thing, we was very well, we was provided for, but having the top name brand clothes wasn't a priority. Having a nice house, bills paid, being able to take vacations and stuff like that, that was priority. And looking back, that meant more to me than having Jordans. I've owned one pair of Jordans in my life. But younger, we were privileged to be able to go to places like New Orleans, Florida, and different places when other younger people might not have been going. Because had we just looked, all the money didn't just go into making sure, get them new J's, get them Air Maxes. Man, you're going to have some nice, decent shoes. And these bills going to get paid. And then we're going to be able to do some nice things and whatever. Okay, back to mamas. Like I said, I'm trying to feel my way through this. Okay, let me get back to my mother. Because I asked my aunt about how she was pre-mother. But now I'm going to talk about her as my mother. Okay. You got to realize, okay, in the early 70s, it was like between 71, 73, if I'm not mistaken, she was diagnosed with lupus. And I think that was shortly after my sister was born. She was advised not to have any more kids. I was born next. So as you listen, you're talking to a miracle because I ain't supposed to be here. And my brother, the one he called Bishop on Facebook, my younger brother, he doubly not because I wasn't even supposed to be. So when you see us walking around and doing what we do or whatever, just realize you're talking to two walking miracles that weren't supposed to be here according to what the doctors say. They say don't try to have no more kids. But you hear my voice right now. So when you're coming from a certain place, you're conditioned a certain way, no matter what people on the outside think. When you're coming from a certain place, you're conditioned a certain way up here. Just knowing certain things. And then having a mother. I never heard my mother curse in my life. That mattered. Because of how she carried herself. I remember back in the day when you could still like smoke in the barber shops and stuff. But when she would come in with us, dudes would kind of tuck their stuff or curb their language because of the respect they had for her. Not because she thought that she was better, because she came from the same place. Like I say, she grew up Reed Street, Deal Street. Came from the same place. My pops from Fairground. So they weren't foreign to the people. They knew all these people. But because of how they carried themselves and still talked to you like people, you respected that. And I got to see that like, oh snap. These grown men, even though they still talk their little crazy talk, if she respectfully asked them something or asked them to stop doing something, they would stop. And it wouldn't even be no back and forth or who she thinks she is. It was never that. It was just how she carried herself. You know, my mother never called me out of my name. That's why even when I get in relationships, I say it's kind of like two things I really can't vibe with. Don't put your hands on me and don't call me out of my name. You know my name. And if you hit me out of instinct, you can't blame me for what I do. So that's why it bothers me when I hear kids being called stupid and dumb, and they're hearing you. Even if what you think they did was dumb. It's one way to say you think something was dumb, but to actually call them that, don't be upset about what manifests after that. Because words have power even when you don't realize they do. That's the thing about it. Words have power even when you're not presently realizing that the words have power. So when you saying and pardon them after you use some cussing, shut the fuck up, I wish you'd sit down with your dumb ass. You know what you just said to your child? No, really, do you know what you just said? Or how they might have made them feel? Here's the thing. If you told them to sit down and they don't cuss them out. Find a suitable punishment for it and execute it. Simple as that. Now, it might not be always as simple as that, but that should be the plan. You gotta cuss them out. They're not stupid. Or maybe they're starting to act stupid because they keep hearing that they're stupid. So like, but I'm stupid. So I'm gonna do stupid stuff because you keep saying I'm stupid. They're kids. They can't always, they're intelligent and they process some things quicker than us, but some things they don't process in the way we do. My mother was mindful of, if you watch my Pastor Percy videos and just listen to me talk sometime, I don't go out of the way to try to use correct English. Because what's correct English? And who am I speaking it for? Yeah, now in certain rooms and certain groups, I know how to, maneuver and, camouflage chameleon and all that good stuff. But on a regular, I would just talk like I talk. But even growing up, my mother would always make sure we use correct words with certain things. Like, she ain't let us say we gotta go stink. She said the word is defecate. And then the first time hearing, like, defecate? What's defecate? You gotta realize we're little boys learning this stuff. And in some of this, I'm not including my sister because she's 6 years older, so you gotta realize her time frame is a little different from ours. And she experienced a 6-year gap, a 6-year difference in how she was parented versus us, because if you get what I'm saying, So how they were addressing her might have been different than how they were addressing us just because of the gap. We couldn't say we gotta go pee pee. It was urinate. A lot of summers before we could even go outside to play, it was these, and I kind of scarred me, but it was a blessing. Because even now I'm like, we used to have to read them books before we went outside to play. But we would have to read some of these books before we could even go outside to, play. And I'm not saying that the way I grew up was the best way or the only way. But I think I'm turning out pretty good because my journey not over. But I think even with a lot of the mistakes I've made, like I said, I've been married and divorced twice. I do my best as a father, but I ain't gonna act like I'm the greatest father. That's for my kids to determine if they think I am. Some of y'all be bragging on yourself, and I be wanting to ask your kids, is that cap? Cause they talking about, I'm the best dad in the world, I'm the best mama. Is that cap? I'd rather my kids say who I am. Now, I think I'm a good father, but I'd rather them say it. Because it'll mean more coming from them than me just putting it out there and them not refuting it because I'm daddy. You feel me? Where was I at? Oh, yeah. I watched how she talked to people. Even when people like from the church or whatever would call different advice, she never was afraid to tell you the truth and didn't have to raise her voice and get all crazy. But I remember listening to her tell people, "Well, baby, you're wrong." Simple as that. Something as simple as that sometimes people won't say to you. Real friends won't even say, "Yo, check it out. Yo, I think you're wrong, B." But she would tell them like, "You're wrong for that. You know that's not how you should have handled that." And ultimately, she got respect because she told the truth. She wasn't afraid to address Cap or whatever it was. She wasn't afraid to talk about it, in a respectful manner and give you, to the best of her ability, the truth or her honest opinion about it. Because the truth could be subjective, you know. I'm saying all of that, and I'm hopefully it's coming together as one thing. Mothers, as important as men are, because I'm not saying this in no way to try to make it like men are less. Each one of us has our role, our space, our strengths, our weaknesses. We're supposed to balance each other out. But as the givers of life, is the very first thing that the baby touches, feels, smells, eats off of, feeds off of, hears. Their experience through life is shaped by you. As many things as I've gathered from my father as a man, some intentionally, some I couldn't help it. I have some of his mannerisms just by it being in my DNA. They swear he spit me right out. I look just like him. I can't help that. Yes, he thinks like a giant. That trickle down, that's in us too. But the words, "Yeah, you can do anything you put your mind to," that came from my mother. And that's not to say my father never said it, but I heard it so much from my mother when I could have been hearing other things. And I've done things to embarrass my mother to the point she kicked me out one time. Well, she kind of kicked me out twice, but my daddy came and got me. Yeah, she kicked me out one time because I was being an asshole. Like, boy, I was an asshole one time. But you know what kind of changed it? And I gotta shout that out too. My cousin, my first cousin. He go by Supreme now. Y'all know. I ain't gonna call his original government because he might not want that out there no more. So, shout out to Supreme. We were teenagers, yo. Like, maybe 16, 17, maybe a little bit later. He pulled me to the side one night in his yard around Washington Park. He stayed in the park. He pulled me to the side of the yard. He was like, "Hey, cuz." He was like, "Look, man, Joyce ain't gonna be here long." He said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact words, but he pretty much was saying, "You're not gonna have your mama all your life." And you have to realize up until that point, yeah, I knew my mama was sick. I've seen my mama, because of the lupus, I've seen her go blind, um, just be incapacitated so many times. Like, you wake up in the middle of the night, just her throwing up, and you be at a restaurant and you know, be in the middle of your meal, and she just started having an episode. You gotta leave. And because that became so normal, You don't realize your mother's dying. See, I'm trying to get through this, so I don't have to edit all of this out. I don't even be crying, man. Yeah. Okay. You got a great responsibility, y'all. I believe I can do anything. That's why when some of my homegirls look, and I'm not going to stop doing it. When I hear y'all talking too reckless around your kids, I'm going to stop and be like, yo, stop cussing so much around them kids. I don't care if that's how you grew up. You're not going to do that around me. You're not going to talk like that around your kids around me. Period. Not if you're my friend. Because they can hear you. We're not going to have certain conversations around your kids. Y'all know I'll stop y'all and be like, yo, we're not talking about that right now. Or I ask you, where your kids at? Oh, I forgot they. Stop forgetting they're back there. Stop forgetting they're around when certain conversations come up. It's your responsibility to shape them. Listen, and that's even whether you're married or not, because I'm not just, I don't know if I feel like I'm taking shots at single mothers. This is about just motherhood, period. Y'all have so much power. And for those that know it, I salute you. But for those that don't, I need you to wake up. And when Father's Day come, we gonna get that too. I might even have a guest for that one. But for right now, we talking about the power of the mothers. What I got on the wall back there. Right here in front of me, and I can't turn the camera around right now, is a photo of my mother, my daughters. Understand the power you got, man. Your life don't fully belong to you no more. Even with me not being in the household with my kids, I understand that my life don't fully belong to me. Because at any time, one of my kids can pick up the phone and be like, Daddy, can you? What I'm supposed to say? Well, I'm living my life. No, I'm their fucking father. I gotta try to make it happen. So it ain't gonna be, I can't always turn up. I can't always come holler. No, I can't come holler. Because that's gonna cost me money and my daughters might need it. And that's a fact. So just know, I know we live in a time where a man saying something to a woman is seen as woman bashing. It's not. If I'm not saying anything to disrespect you and only trying to bring some perspective, if you reject that, that's not my problem. Because if we can't sharpen each other, who can? We always talk about coming together, unifying as a community. Well, if we can't check each other or help keep each other elevating, who can? I love when a woman speaks into my life. I just pray that you all love when a man speaks into yours. Even when they're correcting me, I love it when I know a woman is speaking into my life. Because evidently she recognizes the man in me. Because otherwise, why would she even be wasting her time? Because she's a woman. She's not going to waste her time on some BS. So just realize that if the man is taking that time, then that could be a totally different situation too, of how sometimes manhood gets defined by everybody else except the man. We don't get to define it, but everybody else gets to define this what a man should do. This what a man should do. But then when a man is being a man, it's seen as foreign because it's come from everybody but us. So right now you're listening to a man talk. And if a man is speaking into your life, receive it. Even if you take it personal at first. Even if it stings a little bit. See, is there a message in what is there any validity to what he's saying? Did he disrespect me? Did he put me down? You know, if he's not doing none of that, then let me consider what's being said. Anyway, man. Having a sense of humor and having balance. Listen, I know y'all have to develop some really good senses of humor dealing with some of the stuff y'all deal with when one kid might be upstairs putting on mixed match clothes. One might be swimming in the toilet stool full of doo-doo. And one might be making peanut butter jelly out of turkey and cheese. I don't know. So at the end of the day, y'all end up having to have some different type of level of sense of humor. Or you end up bitter. So you better laugh a little bit. Anyway, I really hope this didn't come across as like no condescending type of way. And the women that I'm really friends with, they know that it didn't come. That's not my intention. Because they allowed me to have real conversations with them as I allowed them to do too. So a lot of the stuff I've said up here, I've said to them. And vice versa. When I'm out of line, they let me know, yeah, you fucking up. You know. And I love them for that. I don't even know if I've covered everything, right? Because my mind is in so many different places thinking about, the love of my mother, the love of mothers, just period. And how I just want to see us just be the best versions of ourselves. As men, women, as mothers, fathers, and just as people, as a culture. Drink a little bit of water, man. Then I'm going to try to get up out of here. Even in some streams of thought, streams of belief, it is said that the black woman is God anyway. Because you all are the netter, the nature, the nurture. Life flows through you. It is incubated in you and comes out of you and then nurtured by you. Really, what's more God than that? It's up to you to accept that level of elevation. But it's clear in what it is. Operate in that. That's all I'm telling you. It's like, okay, you're great over here, but I'm telling you, if you just plug in over here, the whole world revolves around what y'all do. Do you know that? The music that's being made, the movies that are made, the types of food and restaurants and everything, it's really catered to y'all. The type of stuff we do. I didn't buy this shirt because I liked it. I bought it because I hope somebody liked it. Preferably a woman. You see what I'm saying? Like, I could have threw on a t-shirt and some jeans and some nice kicks or something and been cool, going to my grandson's christening. But I had to be appropriate and hopefully look okay. I ain't do that just for me. The different cars and stuff we drive. If a dude tell you he ain't think about it, it's because he ain't thinking about women. Because any heterosexual man, don't let him act so tough. The world revolves around you all. So pretty much wherever y'all take it, we'll go. So if you take it to the highest level, we're going there with you. So go there. Get in touch with really who you are and the power that you possess in shaping lives. You're shaping the future, literally. Because if they're little bitty kids in 15, 20 years, that's the next generation that's going to be running stuff. So you literally can be sowing into yours and the ones around you the right information, sowing into that soil. So when it gets to be the next generation that's running it, we got something to work with. You feel me? Like I said, I don't know if I covered everything. I tried to. I kind of got lost for a second. But listen, I love y'all, man. I hope you had the most best, and I know that wasn't grammatically or whatever correct, but I hope you had the best Mother's Day ever. And for those that lost mothers, I feel you. I can relate. My mother passed October 30th, year 2000. And you don't get over that. Yeah, you have good days, but you don't get over that. So once again, salute to all the mothers out there. You are loved. You are appreciated. Let us love you too. And I'm going to just leave that alone. But everybody not out to hurt you. Everybody's not out to get you. The ones that are genuine, keep them on your side. Some of us do really want y'all to win, all right? Now, I'm about to get out of here. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Like, comment. Y'all don't be scared. Even if you don't like it, get in the comments, because you got to realize, whatever you put up there helped me anyway. So you can get up there talking crazy, book that shit, yo. The algorithm don't care. You know that, right? So whether you hit like or dislike, whether you say something good or bad, now good helps, but it all helps. So preferably put something good. Put a suggestion or something. Hit that subscribe button. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. 1.